The Bible. And the Catechism. In a year. Day 185. From the first book of Chronicles. The Temple Musicians. David and the chiefs of the service also set apart for the service certain of the sons of Asaph, and of Heman, and of Jeduthun, who should prophesy with lyres, with harps, and with cymbals. The list of those who did the work and of their duties was, of the sons of Asaph, Zaccur, Joseph, Nethaniah, and Asherelah, sons of Asaph, under the direction of Asaph, who prophesied under the direction of the king. Of Jeduthun, the sons of Jeduthun, Gedaliah, Zeri, Jeshaiah, Shimei, Hashabiah, and Mattathiah, 6, under the direction of their father Jeduthun, who prophesied with the lyre in thanksgiving and praise to the Lord. Of Heman, the sons of Heman, Bechiah, Mattaniah, Uzziel, Shabuel, and Jeremoth, Hananiah, Hanani, Eliathah, Gedalti, and Romamtiezer, Joshbekashah, Malathi, Hathir, Mahazioth. All these were the sons of Heman the king's seer, according to the promise of God to exalt him, for God had given Heman 14 sons and 3 daughters. They were all under the direction of their father in the music in the house of the Lord with cymbals, harps, and lyres for the service of the house of God. Asaph, Jeduthun, and Heman were under the order of the king. The number of them along with their brethren, who were trained in singing to the Lord, all who were skillful, was 288. And they cast lots for their duties, small and great, teacher and pupil alike. The first lot fell for Asaph to Joseph, the second to Gedaliah, to him and his brethren and his sons, 12, the third to Zaccur, his sons and his brethren, 12, the fourth to Isri, his sons and his brethren, 12, the fifth to Nethaniah, his sons and his brethren, 12, the sixth to Bechiah, his sons and his brethren, 12, the seventh to Jesharelah, his sons and his brethren, 12, the eighth to Jeshaiah, his sons and his brethren, 12, the ninth to Mattaniah, his sons and his brethren, 12, the 10th to Shimei, his sons and his brethren, 12, the 11th to Azarel, his sons and his brethren, 12, the 12th to Hashabiah, his sons and his brethren, 12, to the 13th, Shubael, his sons and his brethren, 12, to the 14th, Mattathiah, his sons and his brethren, 12, to the 15th, to Jeremoth, his sons and his brethren, 12, to the 16th, to Hananiah, his sons and his brethren, 12, to the 17th, to Joshbekashah, his sons and his brethren, 12, to the 18th, to Hanani, his sons and his brethren, 12, to the 19th, to Malathi, his sons and his brethren, 12, to the 20th, to Eliathah, his sons and his brethren, 12, to the 21st, to Hathir, his sons and his brethren, 12, to the 22nd, to Gedalti, his sons and his brethren, 12, to the 23rd, to Mahazioth, his sons and his brethren, 12, to the 24th, to Romamtiezer, his sons and his brethren, 12. The gatekeepers. As for the divisions of the gatekeepers, of the Korahites, Meshelemiah the son of Kor, of the sons of Asaph. And Meshelemiah had sons, Zechariah the firstborn, Jediel the second, Zebediah the third, Jathniel the fourth, Elam the fifth, Jehohanan the sixth, Elihoenai the seventh. And Obed-Edom had sons, Shemaiah the firstborn, Jehozabad the second, Joah the third, Sacher the fourth, Nethanel the fifth, Amiel the sixth, Issachar the seventh, Peelathai the eighth, for God blessed him. Also to his son Shemaiah were sons born who were rulers in their fathers' houses, for they were men of great ability. The sons of Shemaiah, Othni, Rephael, Obed, and Elzabad, whose brethren were able men, Elihu and Semachiah. All these were of the sons of Obed-Edom with their sons and brethren, able men qualified for the service, 62 of Obed-Edom. And Meshelemiah had sons and brethren, able men, 18. And Hosah, of the sons of Merari, had sons, Shimri the chief, for though he was not the firstborn, his father made him chief, Helkiah the second, Tobaliah the third, Zechariah the fourth, all the sons and brethren of Hosah were 13. These divisions of the gatekeepers, corresponding to their chief men, had duties, just as their brethren did, ministering in the house of the Lord, and they cast lots by fathers' houses, small and great alike, for their gates. The lot for the east fell to Shelemiah. They cast lots also for his son Zechariah, a shrewd counselor, and his lot came out for the north. Obed-Edom's came out for the south, and to his sons was allotted the storehouse. For Shuppim and Hosah it came out for the west, at the gate of Shaleketh on the road that goes up. Watch corresponded to watch. On the east there were 6 each day, on the north 4 each day, on the south 4 each day, as well as 2 and 2 at the storehouse, and for the parbar on the west there were 4 at the road and 2 at the parbar. These were the divisions of the gatekeepers among the Korahites and the sons of Merari. The treasurers, officers, and judges. And of the Levites, Ahijah had charge of the treasuries of the house of God and the treasuries of the dedicated gifts. The sons of Ladan, the sons of the Gershonites belonging to Ladan, the heads of the fathers' houses belonging to Ladan the Gershonite, Jehieli. The sons of Jehieli, Zetham and Joel his brother, were in charge of the treasuries of the house of the Lord. Of the Amramites, the Isharites, the Hebronites, and the Uzzielites, and Shabuel the son of Gershom, son of Moses, was chief officer in charge of the treasuries. His brethren, from Eliezer were his son Rehabiah, and his son Jeshaiah, and his son Joram, and his son Zitri, and his son Shelomoth. This Shelomoth and his brethren were in charge of all the treasuries of the dedicated gifts which David the king, and the heads of the fathers' houses, and the officers of the thousands and the hundreds, and the commanders of the army, had dedicated. From spoil won in battles they dedicated gifts for the maintenance of the house of the Lord. Also all that Samuel the seer, and Saul the son of Kish, and Abner the son of Ner, and Joab the son of Zeruiah had dedicated, all dedicated gifts were in the care of Shelomoth and his brethren. Of the Isharites, Kenaniah and his sons were appointed to outside duties for Israel, as officers and judges. Of the Hebronites, Hashabiah and his brethren, 1,700 men of ability, had the oversight of Israel westward of the Jordan for all the work of the Lord and for the service of the king. Of the Hebronites, Jerijah was chief of the Hebronites of whatever genealogy or fathers' houses. In the 40th year of David's reign search was made and men of great ability among them were found at Yazer in Gilead. King David appointed him and his brethren, 2,700 men of ability, heads of fathers' houses, to have the oversight of the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half-tribe of the Manassites for everything pertaining to God and for the affairs of the king. The military divisions. This is the list of the people of Israel, the heads of fathers' houses, the commanders of thousands and hundreds, and their officers who served the king in all matters concerning the divisions that came and went, month after month throughout the year, each division numbering 24,000. Jashobeam the son of Zabdiel was in charge of the first division in the first month, in his division were 24,000. He was a descendant of Perez, and was chief of all the commanders of the army for the first month. Dodai the Ahite was in charge of the division of the second month, in his division were 24,000. The third commander, for the third month, was Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada the priest, as chief, in his division were 24,000. This is the Benaiah who was a mighty man of the 30 and in command of the 30, Ammizabad his son was in charge of his division. Asahel the brother of Joab was fourth, for the fourth month, and his son Zebediah after him, in his division were 24,000. The fifth commander, for the fifth month, was Shamheth, the Israelite, in his division were 24,000. Sixth, for the sixth month, was Ira, the son of Ikesh the Tekoite, in his division were 24,000. Seventh, for the seventh month, was Helez the Pelonite, of the sons of Ephraim, in his division were 24,000. Eighth, for the eighth month, was Sibbecai the Hushathite, of the Zerahites, in his division were 24,000. Ninth, for the ninth month, was Abiezer of Anatoth, a Benjaminite, in his division were 24,000. 10th, for the 10th month, was Maharai of Netophah, of the Zerahites, in his division were 24,000. 11th, for the 11th month, was Benaiah of Pirathon, of the sons of Ephraim, in his division were 24,000. 12th, for the 12th month, was Heldai the Netophathite, of Othniel, in his division were 24,000. Leaders of tribes. Over the tribes of Israel, for the Reubenites Eliezer the son of Zitri was chief officer, for the Simeonites, Shephatiah the son of Makkah, for Levi, Hashabiah the son of Kemuel, for Aaron, Zadok, for Judah, Elihu, one of David's brothers, for Issachar, Omri the son of Michael, for Zebulun, Ishmaiah the son of Obadiah, for Naphtali, Jeremoth the son of Azriel, for the Ephraimites, Hoshea the son of Azaziah, for the half-tribe of Manasseh, Joel the son of Pedaiah, for the half-tribe of Manasseh in Gilead, Iddo the son of Zechariah, for Benjamin, Jahaziel the son of Abner, for Dan, Azarel the son of Jeroham. These were the leaders of the tribes of Israel. David did not number those below 20 years of age, for the Lord had promised to make Israel as many as the stars of heaven. Joab the son of Zeruiah began to number, but did not finish, yet wrath came upon Israel for this, and the number was not entered in the Chronicles of King David. Other civic officials. Over the king's treasuries was Asmaveth the son of Adiel, and over the treasuries in the country, in the cities, in the villages and in the towers, was Jonathan the son of Uzziah, and over those who did the work of the field for tilling the soil was Ezri the son of Chelub, and over the vineyards was Shimei the Ramathite, and over the produce of the vineyards for the wine cellars was Zabdi the Shifmite. Over the olive and sycamore trees in the Shephelah was Baal-Hanan the Gederite, and over the stores of oil was Joash. Over the herds that pastured in Sharon was Shatrai the Sharonite, over the herds in the valleys was Shaphat the son of Adlai. Over the camels was Obal the Ishmaelite, and over the she-asses was Jedaiah the Meronothite. Over the flocks was Jaziz the Hagrite. All these were stewards of King David's property. Jonathan, David's uncle, was a counselor, being a man of understanding and a scribe. He and Jehiel the son of Hachmoni attended the king's sons. Ahithophel was the king's counselor, and Hushai the Archite was the king's friend. Ahithophel was succeeded by Jehoiada the son of Benaiah, and Abiathar. Joab was commander of the king's army. From the Book of Proverbs. The plans of the mind belong to man, but the answer of the tongue is from the Lord. All the ways of a man are pure in his own eyes, but the Lord weighs the spirit. Commit your work to the Lord, and your plans will be established. The Lord has made everything for its purpose, even the wicked for the day of trouble. Every one who is arrogant is an abomination to the Lord. Be assured, he will not go unpunished. By loyalty and faithfulness iniquity is atoned for, and by the fear of the Lord a man avoids evil. When a man's ways please the Lord, he makes even his enemies to be at peace with him. Better is a little with righteousness than great revenues with injustice. A man's mind plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps. Inspired decisions are on the lips of a king. His mouth does not sin in judgment. A just balance and scales are the Lord's. All the weights in the bag are his work. It is an abomination to kings to do evil, for the throne is established by righteousness. Righteous lips are the delight of a king, and he loves him who speaks what is right. A king's wrath is a messenger of death, and a wise man will appease it. In the light of a king's face there is life, and his favor is like the clouds that bring the spring rain. To get wisdom is better than gold. To get understanding is to be chosen rather than silver. From the Epistle of Paul to the Romans. Then what advantage has the Jew? Or what is the value of circumcision? Much in every way. To begin with, the Jews are entrusted with the oracles of God. What if some were unfaithful? Does their faithlessness nullify the faithfulness of God? By no means. Let God be true though every man be false, as it is written, that thou mayest be justified in thy words, and prevail when thou art judged. But if our wickedness serves to show the justice of God, what shall we say? That God is unjust to inflict wrath on us? I speak in a human way, by no means. For then how could God judge the world? But if through my falsehood God's truthfulness abounds to his glory, why am I still being condemned as a sinner? And why not do evil that good may come? As some people slanderously charge us with saying, their condemnation is just. None is righteous. What then? Are we Jews any better off? No, not at all, for I have already charged that all men, both Jews and Greeks, are under the power of sin, as it is written. None is righteous, no, not one. No one understands, No one seeks for God. All have turned aside, together they have gone wrong. No one does good, not even one. Their throat is an open grave. They use their tongues to deceive. The venom of asps is under their lips. Their mouth is full of curses and bitterness. Their feet are swift to shed blood. In their paths are ruin and misery. And the way of peace they do not know. There is no fear of God before their eyes. Now we know that whatever the law says it speaks to those who are under the law, so that every mouth may be stopped, and the whole world may be held accountable to God. For no human being will be justified in his sight by works of the law, since through the law comes knowledge of sin. Righteousness through faith. But now the righteousness of God has been manifested apart from law, although the law and the prophets bear witness to it, the righteousness of God through faith in Jesus Christ for all who believe. For there is no distinction, since all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God, they are justified by His grace as a gift, through the redemption which is in Christ Jesus, whom God put forward as an expiation by His blood, to be received by faith. This was to show God's righteousness, because in His divine forbearance He had passed over former sins. It was to prove at the present time that He Himself is righteous and that He justifies him who has faith in Jesus. Then what becomes of our boasting? It is excluded. On what principle? On the principle of works? No, but on the principle of faith. For we hold that a man is justified by faith apart from works of law. Or is God the God of Jews only? Is He not the God of Gentiles also? Yes, of Gentiles also, since God is one, and He will justify the circumcised on the ground of their faith and the uncircumcised through their faith. Do we then overthrow the law by this faith? By no means. On the contrary, we uphold the law. From the Catechism. Who can receive baptism? Every person not yet baptized, and only such a person is able to be baptized. The baptism of adults. Since the beginning of the Church, adult baptism is the common practice where the proclamation of the gospel is still new. The catechumenate, preparation for baptism, therefore occupies an important place. This initiation into Christian faith and life should dispose the catechumen to receive the gift of God in baptism, confirmation, and the Eucharist. The catechumenate, or formation of catechumens, aims at bringing their conversion and faith to maturity, in response to the divine initiative and in union with an ecclesial community. The catechumenate is to be a formation in the whole Christian life, during which the disciples will be joined to Christ their teacher. The catechumens should be properly initiated into the mystery of salvation and the practice of the evangelical virtues, and they should be introduced into the life of faith, liturgy, and charity of the people of God by successive sacred rites. Catechumens are already joined to the Church, they are already of the household of Christ, and are quite frequently already living a life of faith, hope, and charity. With love and solicitude Mother Church already embraces them as her own. The baptism of infants. Born with a fallen human nature and tainted by original sin, children also have need of the new birth in baptism to be freed from the power of darkness and brought into the realm of the freedom of the children of God, to which all men are called. The sheer gratuitousness of the grace of salvation is particularly manifest in infant baptism. The Church and the parents would deny a child the priceless grace of becoming a child of God were they not to confer baptism shortly after birth. Christian parents will recognize that this practice also accords with their role as nurturers of the life that God has entrusted to them. The practice of infant baptism is an immemorial tradition of the Church. There is explicit testimony to this practice from the 2nd century on, and it is quite possible that, from the beginning of the apostolic preaching, when whole households received baptism, infants may also have been baptized. Faith and baptism. Baptism is the sacrament of faith. But faith needs the community of believers. It is only within the faith of the Church that each of the faithful can believe. The faith required for baptism is not a perfect and mature faith, but a beginning that is called to develop. The catechumen or the godparent is asked, "What do you ask of God's Church?" The response is, faith. For all the baptized, children or adults, faith must grow after baptism. For this reason the Church celebrates each year at the Easter Vigil the renewal of baptismal promises. Preparation for baptism leads only to the threshold of new life. Baptism is the source of that new life in Christ from which the entire Christian life springs forth. For the grace of baptism to unfold, the parent's help is important. So too is the role of the godfather and godmother, who must be firm believers, able and ready to help the newly baptized, child or adult on the road of Christian life. Their task is a truly ecclesial function, officium. The whole ecclesial community bears some responsibility for the development and safeguarding of the grace given at baptism. Who can baptize? The ordinary ministers of baptism are the bishop and priest and, in the Latin Church, also the deacon. In case of necessity, anyone, even a non-baptized person, with the required intention, can baptize, by using the Trinitarian baptismal formula. The intention required is to will to do what the Church does when she baptizes. The Church finds the reason for this possibility in the universal saving will of God and the necessity of baptism for salvation.